If you want to see a Nigerian whodunit mystery where unarmed grown men think it's a good idea to turn off the lights before attacking an armed cultist, filled with a cast who are really just there to maybe drink the free alcohol since barely any acting actually goes on, and produced so awkwardly that you just feel really bad when you finally discover that three adults came together to write this. A Weekend to Forget, which is written and directed by Damola Ademola and currently streaming on Prime, is the movie for you. Okay, so let's take a look at this seemingly star-studded cast and what they wrangled or maybe mangled up on our screens in the service of the story. The movie begins with an introduction to how dangerous this guy is when he injures someone who crosses him on a business deal. A very dangerous man indeed. But you don't really have to remember anything at all about him because we never really see him again, and this is just ends up being a waste of our lifetime. His daughter Lisa, played by Uche Montana and her Wig, who to me is a good actress until she actually begins to talk, and her boyfriend Bem, played by Leo from BBN, are heading off for a weekend with friends. They are being hosted by a UK returning cousin of Bem's called Freddy, and Bem is super excited because some of his other old friends from uni will be there. Oh, and they were not really being subtle about the camera mounted in front of the windscreen and reflecting off the shades. I wonder why Nigerian movies just don't care about this particular filming detail. They were also not subtle about the fact that Lisa is on medication as she pointedly takes her medicine during the drive. But again, dear viewers, because this movie is written by children, you don't really have to worry about this fact because in the end, they'll be meaning almost absolutely nothing in the context of this movie. We never hear the illness she is treating, and it never actually affects the character. Also joining the party are Shema and Layo, a couple looking for a child. Well, we are made pointedly aware that this woman has been doing pregnancy tests for 3 weeks, which, if you know anything at all about the female menstrual cycle, doesn't actually make any sense. If, for instance, she began doing this pregnancy test, let's say 5 days after her last fertile window, she would have seen her period and been waiting for the next ovulation window within the 21 days. So, what then was she testing even after seeing her period? Was she hoping for immaculate conception or what? Oh, by the way, sometimes I usually post stories about the weird points in some of the movies that I'm watching. So you can follow me on IG at Equa Reviews if you want to see my thought process in real time. Among the friends, we have Stanze playing a Nollywood star named Tito, who is coming along with his fiancée and manager, Ndali, played by that annoying Erica lady from Big Brother Nigeria. I thought that the girl was going to do like some sort of fairy tale wedding to that Kid Wire character, but maybe until Kid Wire left the house and remembered that he's actually under no obligation to marry poor people. Though, to be honest, I think it was Erica who actually dodged the bullet because I don't think that guy is smarter than the average 13-year-old. His father too can be weird sometimes, showing himself half naked in hotel rooms or something. I don't know what's going on with that family. Once Bem and Lisa arrive, you suddenly feel the tension in the group. It's obvious that the larger group don't care for him at all, and as we find out, it's because of something that happened about a decade ago. Now, remember this point. I'll come back to it later. Ostensibly, everyone is here for a party, and Freddy is talking about the losing of inhibitions, but I mean, it's just bottles of alcohol, mostly sponsored by Lord's Gin that are on the table, not cocaine and strippers. So, what was the grand plan? Was it supposed to be an orgy among friends or what? So, this weekend party starts in earnest, and we soon discover that this married guy, Shima, had been dating Lisa until a month before and that she's now pregnant. But for some reason, she never told him until she ran into him at this weekend hangout with her boyfriend. So, what was the plan if she had not run into him? Did she want to foist it on her boyfriend, Bem, or what? In time, Lisa catches a glimpse of the lower back tattoo on Tito and realizes that he is her favorite pornographic actor. She informs him of this in real time and he panics because of his brand deals and sponsorships may be on the line if the news gets out. And so he hurries back to his room and reports to his girlfriend and manager Andali, who threatens Lisa with a lawsuit for possible defamation. The ever edgy Lisa also causes a bit of commotion within the larger group when she faces down Fedi for delegating her boyfriend to the role of club manager when Fedi reveals that he plans to turn the house into a billionaires club with Tito and Shima as part owners alongside him. I didn't really understand this dream at all. Like, billionaires club, like an actual club or like a cult? And why would billionaires come to this your house, which is owned by, a non-billionaire? Sure, because your gate has remote control or what? Get out of here, man. Since this is a whodunit murder mystery, we'll soon have a brief lights out, a muted scream, and then we find Lisa dead in a pool. The blame game starts pretty much immediately she dies. Tito, the actor, wants to leave the house with his girlfriend as soon as possible to avoid a police problem, and the others run after him to stop him, and that's pretty much how the dead body is completely forgotten. Many decisions are taken afterwards that didn't really make sense from a logical point of view. First of all, Ndali is obsessed with retrieving the dead girl's phone and deleting her boyfriend's porn video. First, why? Nobody else going through the phone would know that it was Tito because only his tattoo showed. In fact, only people in the house would be able to connect the dots if they had noticed his waist tattoo and also seen the porn video in the first place. Plus, Lisa mentioned that she watched it online, so it's definitely still online. The movie did have a scene that I actually liked anyway, which is where some coincidence with the pregnancy kit and pregnancy test caused Shima to prematurely confess his relationship with Lisa to his wife, Layo. And since he does this in public, everyone now knew that he was cheating, especially Lisa's boyfriend. Now, during the confession, his wife did say that she had a pregnancy kit there because her last test had finally showed that she was positive and that she was going to tell him about it later that night. And I tell you, that is absolute rubbish. First of all, the frequency with which this girl takes pregnancy tests is disturbing. Even when she has not slept with her husband. Like she was taking a test before they left for the party, and on the first day of the party, she was taking another test. Does she think that she's a chicken? Secondly, we all saw her take the test in the toilet. She prayed before she took the test, and her face was disappointed after she saw it. Not at all like the expected joyful look of someone who had been waiting for a child for years. Then, instead of telling her husband Shima about the pregnancy, she called him up to the room, asked them to pray, almost made love, but then asked him to go take a shower because he was stinky before they were interrupted by the news of Lisa's murder. Is that not the longest, most convoluted waiting period before you deliver the most exciting news of your life to your partner ever? Like, what the hell was all that nonsense for? Does the writer, who happens to also be the director, not know anything about human women? As happens in these whodunit murder mysteries, with the blame game comes the spilling of secrets. The problem is that the secrets are just not that interesting. There is something about Freddy being deported from the UK because he wanted to open a billionaires club, but he ran in with the wrong crowd. I really don't know what that means. For some reason, they look up to Freddy to tell them how brutal Lisa's father is. Now, why would Freddy know? We don't know. Freddy goes down memory lane and we see Lisa's father killing someone owing him money. But we don't know who the person is. Freddy is not in the scene. So what is actually happening? Is it his brother? Is it his father? What? This scene is never referenced in this movie again. So why does the writer just want to give me so much grief today? I don't know. Bem, Lisa's boyfriend, is revealed to be hated because he used to be a cultist, back in school, and had even caused Shema to be suspended from school for a semester because weapons were found in the room that he was sharing with Bem. Now, this happened 10 years ago. Lisa's phone is soon discovered to be in Tito's possession when it starts to ring, due to the alarm that she had used for medication. So, it turns out that whole Lisa is on medication thing was just an excuse for the phone to have an excuse to ring an alarm and expose Tito, which was very silly because if the phone was on, like it seemed to be, it could have simply been her father or someone calling her that would have done the trick. A father, a friend, her mom would have just called to see, how she was doing with the weekend. And I don't know, why go through all that whole medication thing for this singular reason? The fact of her sickness would have been infinitely more interesting than this phone alarm gimmick. Also, why seize her phone to delete your sex tape of it and then leave it in your pocket without actually switching it off? Like, did you hit your head in the swimming pool earlier? The boys soon discovered the video because he didn't even delete it. So, mounting suspicion that Tito may have actually killed Lisa to hide his secret. Now, Tito publicly throws his girl under the bus by revealing that she said that she was going to take care of the videotape issue, the sex video issue, and that she may have killed Elisa instead. His girlfriend Dali is played by Erica from Big Brother, and I found her a fascinating character, not because of anything that she did, but because she had this evil accent that I found very, very charming. Now, because this is again who done it murder mystery, recapping it would be pretty impossible and confusing since the writer specifically write it to be as confusing and as highly improbable as possible. So basically, at some point, they decide to take Bem down after finding a murder weapon in his room, and someone says, "Very lights now." Note that Bem is holding a knife and has been doing so for most of this movie since he was distraught over the death of his girlfriend and eager to get to the bottom of it. Now, three grown, unarmed men turn off the lights and rush a former cultist wielding a big kitchen knife. How all of them did not get their kidneys sliced into small chops, I would never understand. They later decide to pin the blame on Bem and then they murder him together in the swimming pool by drowning him, and then made his and Lisa's death look like a car accident to avoid repercussions from Lisa's gangster father, who I must tell you, dear viewer, we never see again in this movie. Things don't really come to a head as they usually do in this thing. This is only when the friends had departed the house and returned home that we actually discover the killer. Now, I wrote this review about 2 weeks ago, and I didn't actually want to mention the killer because the movie was just coming out on Prime. I then got busy doing other more interesting things in life. I forgot about the review. So now I have edited it to include the killer part. So, spoiler alert if you care about that sort of thing. After everyone goes home, Shima discovers Lisa's necklace on his car floor and confronts his wife, Layo. It turns out that the necklace had been a gift from Shima to Lisa, and that for some reason he had kept it in his bedside drawer for a while, giving his wife Layo ample time to discover it. She had been surprised when he ended up not giving it to her and was shocked to discover it on Lisa's neck during the weekend party. She had weirdly confronted Lisa during that lights out near the swimming pool and hit her over the head until so she fell into the water. Now, also somehow walked through the house and to her bedroom before her husband came out of the shower. Now, the actual revelation, that's the speech, the monologue by Ine was nicely done, though her motivations are clear. She says,
I gave up everything for you. My medical career.
what does that mean? You don't have children, so you give up your medical career to sit at home and do nothing? Like, also, who chose this wig for yourself? Now, dear viewer, I'm sure that you are asking how the necklace followed Layo home. Well, that is never explained. At no point did she take the necklace from the body. And why would she? What would be the point? So how did it appear on the floor of her husband's Benz after they returned home? Only the three writers, who even though they had three brains to share among them, can hardly write in a straight line. No. I was able to figure out the killer towards the end though. There was just a kink in the already kinky writing. A weird line that just made it clear. It sounded exactly like the sort of thing that a writer who thinks that they are very clever would write, specifically to throw us off.
To death do us part.
She could have forgiven her husband without that line, but the moment she said it, I just knew that the writer had unfortunately believed in their own hype. For better for worse, till death do us part. Clowns. And this brings me to the end of the review. So if you've seen this movie and was able to figure out the killer beforehand, let me know in the comment section. Okay, so let's get to the verdict. The acting was the worst part of this movie. It was like they just assembled some hustlers to come and act film. It was like the weirdest thing. Now, strangely enough, I would give Leo the most grace. His acting was not perfect, but you could tell that he was really, really trying his best. His eyes were just always roving about the scene instead of focusing on it, but I could really see his zeal. This Effiong guy, do they actually give him roles because he's a fine boy or what? He's always giving me sexy eyes instead of acting what is in front of him. I really don't know what it is that he acts in any movie. Erica's performance was quite charming, like I said, because of her Igbo accent. It made me grin every time she spoke. I didn't hear it in her voice in BBM. Well, I didn't watch it all that much. I wouldn't call her an actress shy because she's obviously easy, just like, Regina Daniel and Uche Montana. People say I hate on Uche Montana a lot, but I think that her dedication to insist on being eloquent in every scene just removes all emotions from her acting and makes it easy to not just like her. I find her cringy to watch, honestly. She just gives the impression that she's beneath this whole thing when she whispers and raises her voice indiscriminately in every scene. Just talk normally, guy. Fedi, who is Elozonam from Big Brother, rubbed me off the wrong way, but not really even because of his acting. It's simply because he sounds like a TV presenter or voiceover artist every time he talks. I don't know if it's an affected acting voice, but he always sounds like he's recording a radio ad. I didn't like it. It really was just Inidima Okoje and maybe Stan Z that saved the movie, honestly. In general, I'll give the atrocious acting 2 over 5. For the writing, it's obviously weak, and that's very embarrassing when you have 3 writers. The story has more patches than Uche Montana's this week. Unfortunately, I had watched the Knives Out just a few minutes before I started this movie, so I was just a bit shy for every writer and character involved. The links among the characters was just too shaky. I just couldn't. I just couldn't. In general, I'll give the movie a 1.5 over 5 because despite its best efforts, A Weekend to Forget is truly forgettable. Alright, guys, that is all for now. I will see you on the next one. Since it seems that nobody wants to follow me on Twitter, if you want to support my channel, you might as well just follow me on Instagram. Thank you.